everybody, I'm back with another late night cooking session. I figured, hey, why not? It worked well yesterday. I'm going to do it again tonight. So it's a little bit earlier. Didn't have crazy traffic like I did yesterday, so go me. Tonight we're gonna do something really easy. I'm going to make classic Québécois traditional poutine, and I'm gonna probably insult a couple of Québécois along the way. Because it's not going to be completely traditional, but, you know, it'll be close enough. So I got some potatoes. I washed them already. I leave the skins on because it's healthier. I got a baking sheet with parchment. I've got my oven already preheated, so I'm at 400 degrees roasting, and I'm going to make some fries. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to chop my potatoes. So I decided tonight's a good night for junk food. Why not? So I'm going to slice these into slices, and then I'm going to cut them into sticks, and I'm going to drop them into a bowl to toss them with some olive oil. So I'll get that bowl. Ha! Bowl. Put that there. In they go. And get the dust out of there. That's always good. Always make sure your dishes are clean if you keep them in open areas. I don't have a lot of cupboards in this kitchen. I have a lot of stuff out in the open. More presentation than anything else because I don't have a heck of a lot of storage space. So sometimes there's a little dust. Sometimes there's a little cat fur. So I always check first before I put stuff in. Just to be sure. Wash it again if need be. You never know. I got a little bit of music playing in the background tonight. Same karaoke tracks as yesterday. Ooh, that potato's got a little spot on there. Hang on a second. Check your potatoes for bad spots too. It's always a good thing to do. This one here. Oop. Yeah, okay. That's. Oh, nope, there it is. Gotcha. That's going in the compost. That's not going in my belly. There we go. There's another one there. Yeah, got some music on, got the windows open, it's nice out, it's a toasty 20 degrees out there. That's Celsius, not Fahrenheit, so we're looking at maybe 72, 73, and yeah, just thought I'd cook up some poutine. It's not too hot to have the oven going yet, so we're gonna go with roasted fries. So olive oil into the bowl. And this is all I do. I don't fry my fries. I have problems with certain oils I can't eat in large quantities, so I do all my stuff in the oven. I'm going to use my olive oil, lots of salt and pepper in there. And then I'm going to toss these around. Look at that beautiful one-handed tossing. If you don't have this dexterity, then you can just do it with your hands or a pair of tongs. And then I'm just going to spread those out onto the parchment. I want them one layer nice and flat so they get nice and crispy. And skin side up or down doesn't really matter. Whatever's in contact with the baking sheet is going to toast up nice. So just going to put those there. I could have gone with a bigger piece of parchment paper, but I had some scraps. This is the one I picked. So might be a little bit smaller in my baking sheet. I don't care. It's okay. So yeah, so poutine tonight. Poutine is a, do I call it a delicacy? No. A traditional Québécois dish? Yeah, we'll call it that. It's like the homiest dish you can possibly think of. Basically, really soggy French fries. Usually, you can go with the crisp kind, but they'll get soggy anyways. Brown gravy, and cheese. So in Quebec, we're really sticklers for cheese curds. Cheese curds cost an arm and a leg these days, as most dairy has gone up in price. Cheese curds obviously have gone that way too. And so a little bag of cheese curds for a dish of poutine are going to cost like $7 or $8, and that's a ridiculous amount of money for cheese. They're basically melty cheddar. I substitute mozzarella all the time, and I find that it's a really good substitute. Yes, I know there's a lot of people who are going to be like, no, you can't possibly do that. It's not traditional. Well, I'm going to do mozzarella cheese. So yeah, while those french fries in the oven, I'm going to put a timer on so I don't forget them there. I'm going to go with 20 minutes. That's usually good to roast up the fries to a nice crispiness. I could go for 25, but we'll see how they are after 20. So I'm going to get the cheese out because it being at room temperature just helps the melting process. So we're going to get that ready right away. Good old standard block mozzarella, nothing fancy. And I'm gonna just get some water. It was a good night at work tonight. A little quiet. Which is always welcome. I mean, busy nights are good, obviously, for the business, but quiet nights are good because you don't feel completely exhausted by the end of it, especially since we're heading into summer now. Hot weather. Working in a kitchen is hot work, and working in a kitchen with air conditioning is even hotter work. So it can get downright exhausting by the end of the night. I'll show you my awesome wrapping technique. So if you have block cheddar or block mozzarella or block any cheese, I usually cut my plastic down the middle like this. I slide one end in behind the cheese like that. I fold the other end over the top, and then I just kind of fold those corners down, kind of like I'm wrapping a present. And then I twist an elastic on top of that. And oh my god, my cheese is closed! Because if there's one thing I hate, it's cheese with hard ends. I do not like finding cheese with hard ends on it. Oh, and since I've started cutting some cheese, a cat has approached. That's not even surprising. So I just cut a couple of sticks of cheese here. You can grate it. Grated cheese is going to melt a lot faster. I tried to mimic what the cheese curds would be, so small blocks. And then that will give me a little bit of that squeakiness at the same time as having a good surface to melt once the gravy hits it. So we're going to do that. Break them apart. And I think that's enough cheese for the amount of potatoes I made. It's one thing in life, you can never have enough cheese. That may not be enough cheese, but I think we'll leave it at that for now. Next, I'm going to go through my herbs and see if I can find some thyme in here. I mean the herbs, not the measure. No, I don't think I have any. Alright, so I don't have any thyme in there, which means I may actually have to go out and get some. I think I have some on the front balcony, so if you hold tight for 2 seconds, I will be right back, and I will have some fresh thyme in hand, hopefully. I will have a glass or a drink of water, and I will show you this lovely pair. You can watch this lovely pair while I'm giving some time. Yo, there we go. It's a good thing I have herbs that are not far away. So, to make a basic brown gravy to go with the poutine, you can, in Quebec, find packages of poutine sauce in the grocery store. You can also find cans of poutine sauce in the grocery store. They're really cheap, but they're usually loaded with salt. And there's easy ways to be able to make poutine sauce at home. So why not, make your own while your french fries are cooking? It doesn't take very long. So I'm just going to move this bowl out of the way, move my cheese away from my burner, and get out the pot. Da-da-dum. So, what we'll need for the gravy. We need some flour, we need some butter. So that's a basic start to any kind of a gravy, is you want something to thicken it. Now, You don't necessarily want to thicken it with flour and butter. You can do that with cornstarch at the end of your sauce or whatever, but this particular one here, I want it to have a little bit of a richness. So I'm going to start with what we call a roux. So it's where you melt your butter and your flour together, and then you essentially cook the flour in the butter until the flour gets toasted, and that's going to not only add color, depending on how long you cook it, but it's also going to add flavor. You don't want to over toast it, obviously, because you can get a burnt taste to it. And I'm going to add about a tablespoon, I think. Going by eye, usually how I go. I'm just going to remind myself, because I have notes I keep on the fridge for recipes I go back to time and time again. So here's my very quick sort of little scribble. So it's, yeah. About a tablespoon of butter in there, so that looks good. I'm going to wrap this back up. I keep a little bit of butter at room temperature for things like toast and stuff, but not too much in the summer because it just melts into a puddle. And we're going to start melting this over medium heat. And then we're going to add the butter in there, so it's about the same amount of, flour. So about the same amount of flour as it is butter in there. And I'll use my whisk to mix it so that once I get my liquid in there. Then, to do the brown gravy, I want to add some stock. So I have stock powder and I also have stock cubes. We're going to go with beef stock on this one, so it's going to have a nice rich brown flavor to it. Taste, color, all that. There you go, beef stock, boom. And then some cider vinegar. Now that's an important one because it adds a tang. And if you've ever had Poutine sauce, you'll notice it has sort of like that barbecue sauce taste to it, which is a little bit of a tanginess. So the cider vinegar is actually going to add that tang to the gravy. And this is kind of like the secret ingredient that nobody realizes you need in the Poutine sauce. But it's a very important component. Then I need water, but my measuring cup is in the sink, so I will find something equivalent. Aha! Mason jar. This is a 250 milliliter mason jar, so I'm going to use that. Hey, sometimes late at night you have to make do. So that's going to be a cup of liquid. Ha ha! So, yes. Beef stock. A spoon. So this stuff here, ooh, look at this. It's the perfect ingredient to enhance soups, sauces, stews, rice. I don't know that I would use beef stock and rice. I've used chicken stock and rice. If you want to have flavorful rice, you add a little bit of chicken stock in there. It's going to add a lot more flavor rather than doing salt. I do that with couscous. I add some chicken stock, and it's delicious. Oh, to season meat and fish also makes a delicious hot drink or broth. Okay, so I don't know that I would go as far as to add this to water and make a hot drink. That's a little bit over the top. But anyways, we're going to add a spoonful of that. They say a rounded teaspoon. We'll say that's about a teaspoon. Probably a little more like 2, but close enough. It's again, the late night eyeballing thing is a thing. So, gravy. We've got our roux starting to come together. See that butter's melting down there? Yes, we see that butter's melting down there. What are we going to do? We're going to mix it up. Make sure all the flour gets mixed in there. And you'll see it kind of clumps up a little bit like a gooey cookie dough. Now, I want that to go from white to kind of a brownish color. I want it to toast. Because like I said, that's going to add that flavor. This is something that I learned when I was in cooking school about making roux and toasting the roux. It's important to toast your roux so you don't have raw flour in there. But it's also something that I relearned recently on a trip when I was in Louisiana. I went to New Orleans and took a class at the New Orleans School of Cooking. And we learned the basis of Creole and Cajun cuisine. And when we were making gumbo, we were making a roux as the base of the gumbo, because that's what thickens up the soup. And what was great about it is they were teaching us how to do the roux the same way I had learned from the French teachers that I had in cooking school, which is you have to cook it low and slow to get that toastiness and to get that flavor and color from the cooked flour and butter. Or oil. I think when we were in Louisiana we used oil instead, because the butter can burn if you're not careful about it. So, and see, this kind of takes a little bit of time. So while the French fries are cooking in the oven, I'm basically just looking at this. So say, you know, once you've got your fries going, you've got about 20 minutes to make your sauce, and then you're basically ready to eat, which is great. So that's toasting. So beef stock, cider vinegar, it's going to be about a tablespoon, which is generally the size of the cap, so I'm just going to use that for a measurement. Again, eyeballing. I'm going to get rid of my little paper because, you know, you don't need to know my trade secrets. What else does that say there? Ah, season with salt and pepper. Yeah. And then the other thing that I've noticed is really great and puts in sauce, and that not a lot of people do is fresh thyme. Fresh thyme makes a huge difference in the flavor. It just brings it to the next level without making it not comfort food and homey anymore. You like don't realize what thyme actually adds to your dish, but if you don't have it in there, it just doesn't taste the same. It tastes basic is the best way to describe it. I think that's a French thing or a Quebecois thing. Ça goûte basic, which means it's I would say almost bland, but not bland. It's just when the thyme is in there, it makes a huge difference. Anyway, so I've got some fresh thyme. I just started growing some nice herbs on the balcony in the front. I've got a lot in the garden too, but this was way closer and not in the dark. And I'm just gonna chop this up really small because the leaves on this particular thyme, I think this is a French thyme, are a bit bigger, and I want small bits, so I'm just going to give it a quick chop. There we go. And that'll be ready to go in. I'm just going to leave that on my knife blade there, and I'm going to move this one away from the heat. And I'm starting to get a little bit of toasting on here, which is lovely. Look at that. Yep, I like that. That's looking good. So I managed to not get myself totally screwed with construction tonight. Apparently all the construction that was closing all of the roads that I had to drive on last night decided to go on weekend holiday or vacation because there was nobody out. Not even on the main road I was trying to avoid, not on the secondary road, not anywhere, which is fantastic. That means I got home record time. And it just meant that I was home earlier to be more hungry. So were the cats. And they were happy to be fed. So you see this has kind of gone from a drying stage back to a moist stage here. I don't know if you can see that. And it's also starting to get golden, kind of like a sugar cookie in color. So yeah, gonna just keep it up with that. Check something over here. How's this window doing? Oh, yo! Hey guys! Did you decide to join into my late night cooking session? Because I have nothing better to do with my time. I'm gonna make food and show you. I'm making poutine tonight. Ashley, you gotta learn this. This is like traditional Quebecois food here. So I've got French fries toasting in the oven right now, and I'm toasting up my roux to make my gravy. So it's getting really brown and it's starting to smell toasty. So now I'm going to add in my, oh, there we go, beef stock. See, that was nice and hot. So this is like super traditional Quebecois food, super comfort. This is the kind of stuff that you just want to eat a big bowl of late at night. Hey Callum, how's it going? Anyway, so yes, gravy. So I've got my roux toasting, which is the melted butter and the flour, all toasted up nice and brown. And now I'm going to bring this to a boil. And what that does is it cooks the flour into the broth and it thickens up the sauce. So yeah, that's going to get nice and thick. I'm gonna add my flavors in right away. If I want, I can add salt and pepper, and I add in my cider vinegar to give it a little bit of a tang. What were you playing? Were you playing Firmament? Don't tell me! I haven't played yet! I'm waiting for all the bugs to get fixed in Firmament. And I am... Yeah, I know, the first message took a long time for me to get it too, actually. It just showed up. I think it was because I had the window behind the video screen. So that could be why. Anyway, I fixed it up. Yeah, don't tell me more. I'm going to... Usually, big gaming things like that, I try to leave for the fall when I'm not in the garden so much anymore. And when I have a lot of time to kind of devote to that. I haven't really got a ton of time to devote to in-depth gaming right now. More testing and things like that, as you know. Anyways, I will wait on Firmament. Check that out. So, the gravy's boiling now. It's thickening up nicely from the flour and butter mixture in there. And I'm going to add salt and pepper. A lot of pepper. I like a little good dose of pepper in there. And it might look like a lot of gravy, but believe me, you want this kind of a little bit soupy. More gravy is going to soak into the french fries, and it's just going to be delicious. So, yeah. So, secret ingredients, important. If you make this sauce, you want to add about a tablespoon of cider vinegar just to give it a little bit of a tang. It's one of those things on the cooking shows, they're like, brightness. I like the brightness. Well, this is going to give you a little bit of that brightness to it. Alright, I'm still really not convinced that that's enough cheese, and if I keep snacking on it, I'm not going to have enough cheese. Long most of the day thing. So it's a good game then. You get really, really into it. It's one of those kind of like draws you in and keeps you wanting to play all day sort of things. Like, do I really need to set myself up for like a 12-hour play session, or what say you? I don't know, it depends on how long you take the puzzle. Yes, okay. Yeah. I'm good with puzzles, though. I'm usually, I don't know. I don't remember how many hours it took me to finish Abduction. Although we were two playing it. Okay, Ashley, see? Cheese. Cheese. More cheese. I said properly. Okay, you're not setting me up for good promise on this. A day or two to play Firmament? Come on. So, okay, if I play in the evenings, and I play for maybe 3 or 4 hours at a shot, what are we looking at? Maybe a 20-hour game? Somewhere around there? So that would give me, what, like a week worth of playing if I play a couple hours every night? Like, I don't think I would sit down and play it for 12 hours straight, just because I feel I would get overwhelmed with the puzzles after a while. Missed games definitely take a good amount of puzzling. Probably about that, yeah. Okay, sounds good. So I'll look at maybe like a 15 to 20 hour gaming stint on that one. That's good though. That's a decent puzzle game. Right, okay. Yeah, of course, because 2 heads are better than 1 when you're doing the puzzles anyways, because somebody is going to inevitably find a piece or a clue or something that the other person didn't. So, yeah, that takes, yeah, definitely will make a big difference. Now, how did you find the puzzles in comparison to, say, Quern? Did you play Quern, Callum? Okay, 12 hours. That sounds good. Yes. Well, yeah, but I don't want to speed run things. I want to enjoy it. At least the first time. Okay, let's see what's going on here. got too many windows open. Ay, ay, ay. So yeah, I did. Oop, there we go. That sounds like delicious French fries. Callum, did you play corn at all? Oh yeah. That looks like French fries to me. Boop. Boop. No. Quern. Quern. Yes, that one. Quern. Quern. That was a big puzzle game. Did you get a chance to play that one? On Steam, or I don't know if it was on GOG, but... Oh, and you like puzzles, right? Okay, so I think you need to put that one. You need to put that one higher on your wish list, because let me tell you, the puzzles in that are crazy. Oh, yes, French fries, yum yum. So this was 20 minutes on a convection roast, which is 400 degrees, and it's got like really nice toastiness. And believe you me, this is, for me, this is way better than any kind of like deep fried goodness. I mean, look at how nice, and they're obviously not crispy all the way around, but for the purpose of making poutine, this is awesome. It is the best. So I just put this on top of my gravy, which was silly. But I'm going to now show you how to build a poutine the right way. You're not gonna pile everything in one big thing. You're gonna layer this. So, French fries. Okay. Some French fries. Then, cheese. Now you want some in between. And yes, I went and added more cheese. Because, like I said, it's never enough cheese. Right, Ashley? Never enough cheese. You need the cheese. Then, more French fries, more cheese. The reason I do these layers is because if you don't, you end up putting all the cheese on top of the fries, and then you eat through the cheese before you get to the bottom of the fries. And that's never a good thing. You want cheese and fries and everything all mixed together. There you go, more fries. The last of the fries. There we go. I didn't turn this off. There we go. So, now I've got fries and cheese and fries and cheese. A bit more cheese on the top. Ends up I did put too much cheese, but we won't tell anybody. I'll eat that. Now, for the pièce de résistance. Did Shakespeare really say that, though? I think he did. So, now I'm going to take my lovely gravy, and I'm just going to pour that right over the top. And like I said, it looks like a lot, but it's going to soak in. And, oh my goodness, that right there is an awesome looking poutine. So this is basic poutine. This is the ideal comfort food in Quebec. You go to any kind of a casse-croûte or fast food chain or anything, you order poutine, you're gonna get a basket full of soft, well deep fried dark French fries, the cheesy curds, and the brown gravy on top. This is my twist on it. It's a little fancier, and it's so good. And now I'm going to go and eat this whole thing. So that's it. I love you guys for having decided to just jump on board with this. It was a random idea last night, and it was more random tonight. And yeah, I will maybe do more of these in the future. So I will see you guys online, and yeah, enjoy.